angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our words of stone are ashes and we both passed on, let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Do not go gently into that good night. Today on the show, I'm going to be saying my goodbyes, but it's not what you think. I think it's time that we take a moment to get very real about what's going on. So again, it's not going to be what you think. I don't want people to think we're going anywhere. We are not. I will get into that here a little bit more momentarily. Let me go ahead and get the other stuff out of the way. We did make some progress today, so that is always an awesome thing. And we made progress in multiple ways today, so really, really good day. Let's start out with Amazon. Our affiliate account is up to $41.40. So once again, I want to say a huge thank you to anybody that uses our Amazon affiliate link. That is like absolutely incredible. So we are up to $41.40. Not sure. Again, I've shown this before. It doesn't tell me who buys what, but it does tell me what was bought. So all I can say is when I looked up, somebody had purchased some taillights for a Jeep. So again, it doesn't tell me who, but that bumped us up rather nicely. And again, I want to say thank you. Thank you very, very much. If you're somebody out there and you shop on Amazon, and if you are so inclined, we have a link in the description of the videos. If you're so inclined, please use that link. It doesn't cost you anything more. It goes a little bit our way, and when you add it all up together, it's nothing to sneeze at. That's for sure. Our highest amount, I do believe, which we made in our second month, our highest amount, I believe, was 53 something. If I'm not mistaken, we should be seeing that at the end of this month. So anyway, if we can beat that, that would make me ecstatic. So anyway, the link is in the description of the videos. You can also go to thewatchmannews.com. On our homepage, we have search boxes here, as well as some kind of random items that are survival related. So you can use those search boxes, or you can see what kind of random items are popped up at the today or at the moment, or whatever you want to call it. If you don't shop Amazon, there are some people that avoid it like the plague, but you would like to help out. You can either go to thewatchmannews.com/donate, or you can just go to the homepage here at thewatchmannews.com. You click the donate button. That will redirect you to our PayPal donation page. You do not have to have PayPal to do it. You can do it with a debit or a credit card. And up top it will say Transforming Disabilities. That is us. And it will say Purpose, the Watchman News donation. That way you know you're in the right place. Never required one bit, but it is very, very highly appreciated. So now that I got that stuff out of the way, let me show you the other advancement that we made today. We got packaging in today. So that is the Green Ming Da packaged up, with the exception of the 250 gram package. That's not in the picture, but that is the 100 capsules, the 28 gram package, and the 100 gram package. And if you're wondering what it looks like on the other side, well, there you go. Again, the capsules are going to be kind of color coded. The Green Ming Da is going to be in the clear, green and clear capsules. The Red Bali will be in the red and clear capsules. And the Golden Elephant, I'm waiting on those capsules to get in. They are in gold capsules. They're all gold. There's not like half clear. So I'm waiting on that to get in. That should be in Friday is what they're saying. So Anyway, I'm like very, very excited about this. I think the packaging turned out very, very nice, and we're still on target to be open on Friday. So, again, looking extremely forward to that. I do have a little bit more to do on the side, of course. I still don't have the golden elephant up there. It doesn't take long to do that. I've been kind of doing other things, busy doing other things. I did get the decal. I did get the image of the decal up on the website. And those folks, we're putting 99 cents on them, okay? I'm not trying to make money off of these decals. What I'm trying to do is promote Kratom. So that is exactly what I'm trying to do. Let me bring that up a little bigger so you can see it. That is the logo that we have on the website, and it says Kratom saves lives up top, and of course the WatchmanNews.com at bottom. I didn't put the actual web address directly to the Kratom site, and the reason why is because once they get to our main site, there'll be a button right there. So the full web address is health.thewatchmannews.com. That's the full web address for the Kratom site. But again, this made it shorter, easier. The link will be right there. So either way, we only put those, like I said, 99 cents a piece. We're not trying to make a profit off of them. We're trying to do our best to promote Kratom. So anyway, that's what is up. And like I say, we should still be good for opening up on Fridays. So wow, fun. So anyway, that is all of that good stuff. Let me get these windows closed here, and we'll get to talking. So let me have a sip of coffee real quick. So I'm going through the news today, as I do every day, and I'm continuing to see this direction that we're going that is inevitable. We are on a crash course for war. There's no two ways about it. And I'm not fear-mongering you. Please understand, I am not fear-mongering you. But what is going on is not the same old typical banter that's gone on for decades. Not the same thing. It's getting very real diplomatically across the planet. I tell you what, I'm really starting to see a lot of power players, so to speak, making moves. There's a video that Roy Potter QA had recommended this morning when he went live, and after the monologue, I am going to play that video. Not Roy's, but the video that he had recommended. And it really does a good job of, well, telling the truth about what is going on with Iran. I think many of us, have at least enough eyes to see and ears to hear to understand that everything's not as presented, so to speak, when it comes to either Iran or Venezuela, Syria. We're being propagandized heavily, very, very heavily. It would appear that they were in the midst of a false flag attack on U.S. warships. So again, after the monologue, I'll play that video that discusses that. But what I'm seeing, and it's not just with Iran, of course Trump went ahead today with the tariffs on China. We've got an executive order that's been signed dealing with the Mueller report. We've got a lot of things going on, and I'm telling you what, I can't tell you which direction it's going to go, but I do want to spin this monologue as if you're not going to hear from me tomorrow. Okay? I want to take that approach with this monologue. I have not really sat down and thought about the things that I'm going to be saying. I didn't want to do that. I did not want to do that. I considered it, but then I don't, no. I'm telling you, folks, you really need to start going through your preps, and don't fear. Don't fear. And that's exactly why I said what I said. Do not go gently into that good night. Okay, I don't want you to fear, but at the same time, kick some ass. Kick some ass. Don't give in. Don't give up. There's typically always a way. And if there's any two people that can prove that, it's Jen and myself. And I'm sure many of you can prove it too. There is typically always a way. Don't be a defeatist and get away from those people that are. Because that's those type of people are dangerous. They really are, especially in a survival type of situation. They are extremely, extremely dangerous, right? It's going to be, when the balloon goes up, it's going to be a time either to pull up your big boy britches or your big girl britches and get to work. Not any time for any whining or crying or woe is me. That time will be well over. And any time spent doing those things is going to be wasting necessary time in doing the things that are going to need to be done. And for each of us, that's a little different. We all have different circumstances. We all have different preps. So we're each going to have to gauge what it is that is important right then and there. Let me give you a little difference here. Many of you may have water stored. Okay, we don't have a drop of water stored. Okay, we have ways to filter water, but I can tell you that if the lights went out and my phone was completely dead, as in not the battery, but the thing wouldn't turn on, as well as the other electronics in the home, and I was pretty certain we just got hit by an EMP, the first thing now I'm going to be doing is grabbing containers and filling them with water. Okay, making sure that our water filter's topped off. That's the first thing I'm going to be doing because I am aware we don't have stored water. I'm not so concerned of it as some individuals may be because I don't live in a desert. Okay, I have access to water and I have ways to be able to clean and purify that water. So I'm not quite so worried about it to the point to where I've got 500 gallons of water stored somewhere. If we had a little room, I would love to have maybe 100 or so gallons of water stored, but we don't have the room for that. We don't have a bathtub, so we only have a shower stall, so I can't fill up a bathtub, for instance. It's grabbing containers, as many as I can find, regardless of what they are, and filling them with water. Again, different people with different situation calls for different actions or reactions. You may be in a position to where, okay, you've got water stored. You've got plenty of water stored. Well, then there's other tasks that you need to focus on getting taken care of right away. Yesterday, I believe I mentioned about light discipline and sound discipline. Okay, those are some things that you're going to want to get on to pretty quick. Just make sure that it's not extremely noticeable what you're doing. You don't want to draw that kind of attention. You don't want to advertise to people that you are so far ready to go that you can immediately go into action and have windows boarded up and this and that. And, again, try to keep, as far as visually from the outside, try to keep your residence as normal looking as possible. You don't want to invite unwanted attention because, again, if you go boarding up windows and stuff like that, number one, that's telling people that you're there, and number two, telling them that you likely have things that they're going to want or need and you don't want to share them. Not a good thing to do. So, again, I'm trying to take this, and I'm hoping I don't fumble the ball here, because I really, again, that's why I didn't want to sit down and think about what I was going to say to you, okay? I wanted to be able to just completely off the cuff, just like I do any other day. I would recommend highly that you work on skills of discernment, okay? There is a lot of misinformation out there. I would tell you, if it was my last time to speak to you, to get as much information as you possibly can. Not only on how to do things, but also on what is going on. Okay, I mentioned yesterday shortwave radios. And I really need to make sure that that's pretty up high on our list of things to get. Because information, especially after the balloon goes up, is crucial. Crucial. I certainly, if this was the last time I was going to be speaking to you, I would tell you that communication is one of the most key things that you need. But it needs to go beyond that. It's one thing to go buy yourself a couple of Baofeng radios. Do you know how to program them? Are they programmed? They need to be. Now. Not after the balloon goes up. Now. Okay, it's probably important, and I'm not a communications guy, okay? So I want to make that clear. But you want to have some type of a radio schedule set up. Number one, you don't want one channel that you operate on and that's it. You don't want to do that to yourself. You're going to want multiple channels, okay? Plenty of channels that you operate on, and you're going to want to change those channels periodically, okay? So you need to have this all set up ahead of time, as well as little schedule cards, if you will. That's what I'm calling them, on when you switch to what channel. Okay, it may be certain days of the week, but I'd even switch that up. Every Tuesday I wouldn't be on channel 3, okay? I would switch it up. Get yourself a radio schedule, okay? Those that you plan on spending the apocalypse with, go over this stuff with them. Don't just, don't just show up and say, here's your Baofeng radio, I'm on channel 3. Don't do that. Be more prepared than that. I understand that some of us have individuals that we intend to be with us, but aren't really preppers, aren't really interested in prepping or getting involved in any way in prepping, and that's fine, okay? But you're going to want to try to single out those that are, and make sure that they have these plans in place, and that they understand these plans, okay? Then, hopefully, you'll be able to get the other ones up to speed in a relatively quick manner. That's the hope, anyway. Again, that's why it's important to have things like cards that you make up. Just take some index cards. Put the information on them that you need. Laminate them. Laminate them to protect them from anything. Dirt, water, whatever. Communication, again, huge. Light is huge. Light is extremely huge. I think light is one of the most underestimated preps and under talked about preps that there is, aside from flashlights. There's some preppers that really like their flashlights, so go out and spend over $300 for a flashlight. Hey, if you got the money, go for it. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going out and buying the night cores and the O-lights and all these fancy, expensive flashlights. I'm talking about simple lanterns, okay? Flashlights got its purpose, right? But flashlights suck if you need to light up a room. They just do, You want something like a lantern that's got a little better ambient light instead of focused light. Make sure you have several ways, and make sure you have ways to fuel those lights. And notice I said fuel, okay? Because technically, even a battery is providing fuel to a electronic or electrical type of light, okay? But do not limit yourself, and I'm begging you on this. Do not limit yourself to electric type lights. I'm begging you. Please don't. Talk about standing on the edge of a cliff. That is standing on the edge of a cliff if you limit yourself to electric types of light. Okay? And there's reasons for that. Make sure you have other fuel type lights good to go, like kerosene lamps, you name it, candles. Okay? I've often talked about getting yourself some cotton wick. You can buy a 100-foot of cotton wick on eBay for relatively cheap. I'm sure Amazon has it too. Okay? And you can use all kinds of petroleum products, whether it be Vaseline you could use, Crisco you could use, vegetable oil you could use, used motor oil out of a car you could use. Okay? Any petroleum product, as long as it's not too explosive, you could use. Okay? So just simply investing a little bit of money into a whole boatload of wick can save your butt. Now, why do I go through all this? Why is it so important for me to explain to you about these different types of light? Because, folks, if it's an EMP that we experience, most of those fancy flashlights, even the cheap ones, the flashlights all from, less than $10 that you get at Walmart, all the way up to the over $300 flashlights that people think are so important to have. Some people. They're not going to work. You heard me right. They're not going to work. Okay? One of the components that an electromagnetic pulse will fry is an LED. Okay? So a lot of these flashlights that you see out there today, not going to work. Not in the event of an EMP. They are simply not going to work. And I'm not 110% positive that an old filament type of bulb will work. Need I remind you, during the Carrington event, that telegraph wires were burning up. Okay, now I know that was a CME. That's different than EMP, okay? But there's also a big difference between a filament in a light bulb and a telegraph wire. Okay? It's a lot easier to burn up that filament in that light bulb. So I'm kind of trying to compare the two. I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket of electric types of light. But I can guarantee you, if you're in, relative close proximity and within line of sight of that EMP, I guarantee you the LED lights are done. Guaranteed. There's other types of lights, of course, and we talked about the filament lights. Again, whether even the 120-volt household filament bulbs could blow out in an EMP. I think it would be much less likely than, say, a flashlight, a filament type of flashlight bulb, because you're talking about a much higher voltage, a much higher amount of current to be able to operate that light. Okay, so that has a better chance of surviving an EMP type of event than, say, a 5-volt bulb or even a 12-volt bulb. Not quite sure what the little mag lights are technically on the voltage. I can sit there and tell you the battery voltages, but I doubt that they're right at, say, for instance, 3 volts for the dual or double A batteries, the 2 AA batteries. I doubt they're right at 3 volts, okay? They're probably going to be around 3.7, 4 volt bulbs, okay? You want to rate your bulb a little higher than the voltage you're throwing at it, or else your bulb's not going to last very long. So, on to the next type of light that we're all familiar with, and that is CFLs, the little compact fluorescent bulbs, okay? Those aren't going to work either. Okay, because they take a circuit to start them, and inside of that circuit that starts them is transistors. Okay, and an EMP will certainly blow a transistor. In fact, that's one of the first things that it will blow. An EMP will damage semiconductors. Okay, and I try to explain it in this manner because it opens it up a little bit more broad as to the damage and the spectrum of the different devices that will no longer work after an EMP. I hear a lot of people saying, computers or, chips or, it's a wide range of things. And pretty much any silicon-based chip, okay? But it goes a little further than that. Like I said, LEDs will cease to function, okay? I really don't consider an LED a silicon-based chip, okay? But it is what it is. Diodes, again, not necessarily a silicone-based chip, okay? But it is a low voltage, low amperage device in most cases. Again, I'm sure you've got big diodes that are surviving just fine, but the ones that are commonly on surface mount boards that's in most of our electronics, they don't have a chance in hell. So just remember that. I see a lot of people that, this has survived, that has survived. Don't be so certain of that. If it's electrical or electronic, be wary. Be wary, especially anything after the 70s. Some of the stuff even in the 60s. So it's pretty safe to say most of us have devices that will pretty well be gone with the wind in that type of event. But anyway, I'd spent quite a while on light, quite a while longer than I intended to spend on light. Again, I would highly recommend, and this is extremely important. Well, me getting a drink of coffee, that's important. 1 second. Okay. Do not look for a fight. Okay? There's a lot of keyboard commandos out there on the internet today talking about, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and no, don't. Do everything you can. Now, I mean, if you have to, fight like hell, okay? Fight like hell. Be the storm if you have to, right? But if you at all can, completely avoid people. Completely. If you've got the preps to be able to do so, disappear. That's the most important thing I think I could tell people, is to become a ghost. Disappear. You do not want caught up in what's going to be going on outside, so to speak. You do not want caught up in that. You are going to see, in some cases, the best of humanity, and in some cases, the worst of humanity. It's only a certain length of time before you run into one of the other. Okay? In other words, you might be in an area where you see a lot of good humanity, but it only takes a little bit of time, and you're going to run into the opposite. Scared people, desperate people are extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. It doesn't matter, and I really need to impress this on people. It doesn't matter how long you spent at the range. It doesn't matter how good of a shot you are, how quick of a draw you are. It doesn't matter. All it takes is enough of them to overpower you. That's all it takes. The whole Rambo thing, don't even try it. Not if you've got people that depend on you. If you don't have anybody depending on you, then whatever, do whatever. But if you've got people that need you and depend on you, don't go get yourself killed. Do what you can to disappear. If you don't have what you need to disappear, I recommend you go get it very quickly. Right? You don't have a sword, sell your cloak and get one. That's probably the most important thing. Disappear. Disappear. Be unseen. It's just not something you want to get caught up in. Not to say you can't ever go out, you can't ever do anything, just use your head. Try never to be in a situation to where you have to quote-unquote think quick, okay? try to take your time in strategically planning the things that you do, that you're never in that position to where you have to quote unquote think quick. That's another very important thing to keep in mind. I'm trying to think, and I know there's a million things, folks, there's a million. But I'm kind of, I'm trying to bring this to a close so I can get on with the news. And, of course, we are going to be joining up with Pepper Nurse 1 at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm trying to kind of move things along. Again, I know there's a horde of things that I'm missing that I'm not talking about. But I wanted to cover, like, if we had the opportunity to have, like, a 30-minute conversation before the lights went out, that's what I wanted to have with you today. Okay? Make sure you got light squared away. Make sure you've, got a source of water squared away, whether it's stored or a way to filter. Okay? Make sure you are ready to be able to implement whatever systems you need for sound discipline and light discipline. Almost forgot the words there. Do not put yourself in a position you don't need to put yourself in. That's huge. That is so huge. Because there are a lot of people that are going to want to attack an SHTF event like they attacked today. And it's not going to work out so well for them. People have gotten really complacent in this country. There was a time and place before the internet, many of you probably remember it, that if you said half the things to somebody else that is being said daily by these individuals, somebody was going to get an eye dotted or worse. Okay? You're going to have idiots out there that are still going to try to be like that, but face to face. It's not going to work out well. It's not going to work out well. And that's what I mean by complacent. Okay? People have had that security of sitting behind a computer monitor or a phone and not having to worry about direct consequences to the things that they're saying. And if it's the lights that go out and we no longer have that luxury of the internet, in order to be speaking nonsense, you're pretty much going to have to be doing it in person. Not a good idea. Well, some people are going to do it because that's what they're used to, and they're complacent with that safety that they have, not having to deal with those consequences directly and immediately. So, again, do what you can to avoid having to deal with people, at least for the first little while. Things, it's going to get hairy right after an SHTF event. Things are going to get hairy, okay? But if you can keep yourself hidden and out of the way, okay, things will calm down. I think there will be multiple waves of things getting a little out of hand, but the first one is going to be by far the worst, and it's going to be insane. It's not even something that I want to see. I want to be a ghost. I don't want to have to see it. I don't want to have to deal with it. Because I'm in no shape to. I'm not armed in a manner that I'm ready at, but don't even have a gun. Okay? So I'm not set up in a manner to be able to fight like that. Okay? Physically, I'm in no physical condition to be interacting with people in that manner. Yes, fighting. I can do, whatever I can within my skills for a few moments, but once that COPD starts in, I can't breathe. Ain't a whole hell of a lot you can do when you can't breathe. So, I have my reasons for being a ghost. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Just put a lot of thought into this. Like I said yesterday, really put yourself through the mental exercises of what you need to do. Imagine the lights going out, and it starts now. Run yourself through that mental exercise. It's important. You need to have this squared away mentally. With the stuff that I'm seeing, I would say it's urgent. We're going to be getting to that. Let's head that direction right now. It's highly concerning what's going on here. Some of this is from yesterday that I tweeted out. Let me have a sip of coffee. Okay, Caracas strips 7 Venezuelan lawmakers of immunity over failed coup. Now, I wanted to reread that again because I don't know if I read that yesterday at any time, but the reason I wanted to make sure I brought this up again because I'm curious whether Juan Guaido is going to wind up being one of those individuals. I haven't heard his name yet, but I'm curious if it's going to pop up. CIA on dark web. U.S. spy agency shares its Tor network address. How do you like them apples? Okay, I keep trying to tell people I don't care whether you're on Tor, I don't care whether you're behind a VPN, none of that matters. It does not matter. Plain and simple. Does not matter. CIA's giving out their network address for the dark web. Anybody that didn't think that they've been monitoring it the entire time is crazy. In fact, they're probably the ones that created it to begin with. So it's probably nothing more than a honeypot, just to be honest. That's why I've stayed away from it. I've logged on to the dark web a total of 0 times. I have no interest. Pompeo says he wants to see Iraq independent in hinted warning against deals with Iran. 1 student killed, 7 injured in Colorado school shooting. We talked about that, or I broke that news live yesterday during the show. Pence lifts U.S. sanctions from Venezuela's defector general, hopes to inspire more turncoats. I don't think that's going to work out well, but we'll see. President and CEO of Great Circle charged with endangering a child. Now, yesterday when I read this, it wasn't clear to me in what manner that he endangered the child. I don't know if it says any more on it today or not. I am curious, though, and I forgot to take another look. Okay, here it says here, a former employee says the video shows him putting a 12-year-old in a chokehold. So that's what this says. I'm sure there's probably more information here, but yeah, this is supposed to be a child welfare organization. Insane. Car rams into group of preschool children in Japan, 15 people in hospital. Explosion kills 4 near major Sufi shrine in Lahore, Pakistan, and I'm sure I said all that wrong. Iran informs foreign envoys it's decided to stop implementation of some nuclear deal commitments. Okay, that's part of my attitude and my prompt for doing this monologue today in the manner that I did, because they are serious, and we'll be getting to that here in the headlines. Facebook censored a post for hate speech. It was the Declaration of Independence. How do you like that? No prison time for woman who tried to drown baby in toilet at McDonald's. Nope, no prison time. And you would think, right? You would think that they wouldn't let her have the child? Think again. She got probation, and she has to attend parenting classes, right? Because apparently she didn't know you're not supposed to try to drown your baby in the toilet. This is ridiculous. I haven't seen my kids in over 5 years. I did jack shit wrong. Pardon the language. Okay? This is ridiculous. And I bet Dad, nowhere to be found. Probably not by choice. Great-grandmother arrested for having CBD oil at Walt Disney World. How do you like that? CBD oil, right? And she wasn't just arrested, she was charged with a felony. Now, the charges were dropped, by the way. I do want to make that clear. They did drop the charges. But this poor 69-year-old great-grandmother, right? They charged her with a felony. She spent a night in jail. CBD oil that had zero THC content. It wasn't the THC CBD oil. It's ridiculous. Venezuela to prosecute turncoat lawmakers following failed coup. Iran stops selling excess uranium will enrich to higher level in 60 days unless Europe acts. That's part of what I'm talking about. That is a big deal. That is an extremely big deal. See, sometimes if you try to bluff other individuals, they will call you on your bluff. And guess what? That's exactly what these countries are doing. They're calling us on our bluff. They're done. They're done. Anybody that sits back with an open mind and looks at the big picture can see how we've been crooking and rooking these other countries for a long time. For a long time. Tell them one thing and do another. They're tired of it. They're tired of it. EU leaders voice concern over Tehran nuclear deal moves, call for stronger commitment. We will not allow Iran to achieve nuclear weaponry, says Netanyahu. Personally, I don't think they should have nuclear weapons either. China regrets U.S. pressure on Iran, calls for full implementation of nuclear deal. U.S. responsible for unacceptable dreadlock on JCPOA, says Lavrov. Again, this whole thing with Iran is exploding. Exploding. China ramps up crude oil imports despite Washington's clampdown on Iran. So China is like, they don't give a damn. They don't care about the U.S. sanctions. Iran's rowback on nuclear deal is legal and reversible, says Foreign Minister Zarif. I don't see why not. U.S. can just back out of anything at the drop of a hat, right? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a what's good for the goose is good for the gander kind of person, right? I'm not above anybody, and I'll be damned if I let somebody, act like they're going to be above me. Hell with that. You know what's above me? God. That's it. That's it. Reckless steps taken by U.S. led to Iran's decision on nuclear deal, says the Kremlin. U.S. playing cowboy and abusing power in Venezuela and Cuba, says Spain's foreign minister. The U.S. raises tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports from 10% to 25%. That is a big deal. That is a big deal. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stock market today. I'm kind of curious. No, it didn't look like it fell through the floor or nothing. The sky didn't fall or nothing, so that's a good thing. I know it did take a fall yesterday, but it doesn't look horrible today. So, and I tell you what, I am shocked that Bitcoin made it up to even where it's at. I didn't think it was going to get. It was hovering for so long, in that 3,000 range, and I'm shocked that it's almost up to $6,000 per Bitcoin now. So. I'm shocked it made it to that, to be honest. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov holds presser with Iranian counterpart Zarif. Instex mechanism is less effective than originally planned, says Lavrov. Iran may leave NPT if UNSC raises concern over nuclear deal, says reports. China hopes to negotiate trade issues with Joe Biden or weak Democrats. I seen that headline and I just had to laugh. This is coming from DEFCON warning system. We have confirmed a flight of B-52s and support aircraft eastbound over the Atlantic, presumably en route to deployment in the Middle East. So I don't know if these are additional B-52s or if these are the original 4 that we had already reported was either being sent or already over there. I don't know which one of the two. They didn't file a flight plan with me. Pompeo holds joint presser with UK Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt. Anybody ever call into a store when you're young and ask for Michael Hunt? Guilty. Passenger plane skids off runway in Myanmar, breaks into 3. Trump asserts executive privilege over Robert Mueller's report, says the Department of Justice. Air France flight from Paris descends for unknown reason. Canada set to approve Trans Mountain oil pipeline expansion. New Zealand minister calls ridiculous anti-vax parents pro-plague. How do you like that? Pro-plague. Ridiculous. And you notice this? This is a global effort. A global effort. There is something up with that. There is certainly something up with that. Russian military repels 12 rockets fired in new attack on Khmeimim Air Base in Syria, says the Ministry of Defense. And again, I can't pronounce the name of that. I have no idea how that's supposed to be said. Oh, you're going to love this. Diabetes drugs linked to flesh-eating genital infection, study finds. So you can take diabetes drugs and, lose your buddy, right? Literally, get an infection that will eat it away. I mean, that's like stuff that horror movies come from. You know what I mean? Make a horrible porn movie, though, wouldn't it? Duly elected leader Pompeo echoes falsehood about Venezuela's Guaido. We don't spy, we investigate. Ex-FBI Chief Comey on Trump campaign op. How do you like that? We don't spy, we investigate. That's why they got records of every single one of us, databases of every last one of us. Right? Because they don't spy, they investigate. Did you know you were under investigation? Ridiculous. U.S. must prevent construction of Nord Stream 2 pipeline to counter Russia, says Pompeo. This is coming from Pompeo's mouth. And again, I'm going to ask, who the hell are we? Who the hell are we to say that other countries can't conduct business with one another? That's ridiculous. I mean, it's one thing if little Bobby or little Susie can't sell lemonade in their front yard. That's bad enough. But to think that we can go around the world and telling other countries who they can and can't do business with? That's not going to end well. New Iran sanctions. Trump threatens anyone trading aluminum, iron, steel, and copper. Colorado school shooting suspect held on first-degree murder charge. Anyway, that is the headlines. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the monologue, and we'll go ahead and get into videos. So we will be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, joining up with Pepper Nurse 1 at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. For those that are here for the live show, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything. We just close up the monologue like this every day. For those that just watch the monologue, or if you're watching the recording later on, thank you very much. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit.